morning, Malacañang Press Corps and guest. Welcome sa press briefing the Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. This morning, we're pleased to have the Executive Director of the Public-Private Partnership Center of the Philippines, or the PPP Center, Dr. Ferdinand A. Pecson. Before joining the PPP Center, he worked at FL Smith AES as Performance Director and Executive Team Member leading the O&M business in Africa and the Middle East. He has previously worked with Holcim Philippines, Deere and Company, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Macnaughton Consolidated Industries, Solid Cement, FINMA, and the University of the Philippines. He's extremely well qualified. He has a PhD in energy engineering from the University of the Philippines under the joint program with University of Wisconsin, Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from the University of the Philippines, and so on. Extremely gifted. Ladies and gentlemen at the Malacañang Press Corps, let us all give a warm welcome to Executive Director Ferdinand Pecson. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Presidential Spokesperson Abella, for inviting the PPP Center to present what is going on and what is in store for PPP projects. And also I'd like to thank the press corps for joining us here and giving us a chance also to interact with you. We are here to share with you updates on the Philippine Public-Private Partnership Program. The Duterte administration aims to address the infrastructure requirements of the Philippines through accelerating the country's annual infrastructure spending to account for at least 5% of the gross domestic product, with public-private partnerships playing a key role. The recent pronouncement of the President identifying infrastructure and logistics, including local government units, public-private partnerships as preferred activities for investment, under the 2017 Investment Priority Plan bodes well for our continuing efforts to power up the implementation of PPPs across the country. Currently, the Philippine PPP program has 50 projects in the pipeline worth 472.9 billion pesos. Of these 50 projects, 4 have already been completed. These projects are the Muntinlupa-Cavite Expressway, the NAIA Expressway, and the Automated Fare Collection System, or popularly known as the BEEP card. These are transportation projects that have helped ease the traffic situation in Metro Manila, although I should say that it's not yet fully solved, and made travel faster and more efficient to both commuters and motorists. The last completed project is the Department of Education's Phase 1 of the PPP for School Buildings and Infrastructure Project. 9,266 classrooms are constructed, benefiting an approximately 500,000 students in the Ilocos, Central Luzon, and Calabar zone regions. We have 7 PPP projects simultaneously being built by our private partners. 4 are transportation projects. We have the very successful Mactan Cebu International Airport, where a new passenger terminal is being constructed and is now 44% complete. Construction of MRT-7 and Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3 is also ongoing. This will benefit millions of commuters and motorists. Another project that will help address our transportation challenges is the Southwest Integrated Transport System. This project is located within a 4.59-hectare land of the Philippine Reclamation Authority along the Manila-Cavite Expressway. Commuters will be treated to a centralized transport terminal where they can easily transfer to their preferred destinations within and outside Metro Manila. Other PPP projects under construction include the Bulacan Bulk Water System that will provide treated water to the province's water districts and help them meet the increasing demands of their customers. The good news is that the project was recently shortlisted for Water Deal of the Year of the Global Water Award sponsored by the UK-based business magazine Global Water Intelligence. Still, another project is the computerization of the civil registry system of the Philippine Statistics Authority. This will make the access of civil registry documents easier and faster for our citizens. The PSA recently held a groundbreaking ceremony for the facility last February 27. The phase 2 of DepEd's PPP for school building infrastructure project is now 66% complete, with over 4,000 constructions to be constructed to benefit 1,895 public schools in regions 1, 2, 3, 10, CAR, and the Caraga. Meanwhile, we have 4 other transportation projects that are in different stages of pre-construction activities. These are the LRT Line 1 Cavite Extension, the Cavite Laguna Expressway, South Integrated Transport System, and the NLEX SLEX Connector Road. On February 6, the DOTR and private partner Light Rail Manila Consortium inaugurated the newly upgraded Doroteo Jose LRT station. Together with the implementing agencies, we are working vigorously to fast-track the bidding of 9 PPP projects. We have the regional airports, there are 5 of them, Davao, Iloilo, Laguindingan in Cagayan de Oro, Bacolod, and New Bohol, Panglao, that we have unbundled into 5 individual projects. With the unbundling of these airports, we are very optimistic that more local and international players will participate in these projects. The invitation to bid has been published, or to pre-qualify and bid has been published last January for new prospective bidders. The DOTR will conduct the pre-qualification conference on March 13. Another PPP project under procurement is the regional prisons facilities of the Department of Justice. The bid submission is scheduled on April 2017. A modern prison facility will be constructed in Fort Magsaysay, Nueva Ecija to provide our inmates at the existing penal facilities such as the new Bilibid prison and the Correctional Institution for Women, humane living conditions from what they are experiencing today and help them undergo complete rehabilitation. We are also excited to share with you the Nayong Filipino Foundation just recently had a successful investors conference on February 9 for the new Nayong Filipino at Entertainment City project. Foreign and local developers expressed high interest in this first PPP tourism project. There are also PPP projects that are under review by implementing agencies. These are the New Centennial Water Source Kaliwat Dam Project, the LRT Line 6, NAIA PPP, North-South Rail Project South Line, Batangas-Manila Natural Gas Pipeline Project, and the Davao-Sasa Port Modernization Project. So by review, what we mean is that these agencies are now looking at the best way forward for these projects. One important work that we are also doing today is improving the policy framework for PPPs. Aside from working on getting the PPP pipeline moving and the project standard, the Center is actively pursuing various policy initiatives that will create a more attractive PPP environment for investors. And we are streamlining our processes to make PPP procurement more nimble and responsive. The PPP Center acts as the secretariat of the PPP Governing Board, which is the overall policy-making body for all PPP-related matters. This is chaired by the various national government agencies. The board is responsible in setting the strategic direction of the Philippine PPP program and creating an enabling policy and institutional environment for PPPs. Under the Duterte administration, unsolicited PPP projects are getting the support and attention from the government as an option to address the current infrastructure gap. The Center recently drafted the guidelines for unsolicited proposals, defining the roles of different government agencies in the unsolicited proposal process, the standards and how projects will be evaluated. We are also considering hybrid PPPs where the government can construct the facility through the Official Development Assistance or ODA or government budget under the General Appropriations Act. The private sector's expertise and efficiencies can then be tapped through bidding out the operation and maintenance under the PPP scheme. We are now also guided by the direction that bid parameters should focus more on lowest user fees compared to having substantial upfront payment from bidders. Something that I also like to mention to you is that the Center also worked with the Philippine Stock Exchange and the Securities and Exchange Commission which resulted in the development of the supplemental listing and disclosure rules applicable to a PPP company. Through these new guidelines, PPP companies will be able to tap the capital market, especially for huge projects that need vast amounts of money to fund it. This is significant as we are approaching the point where our bank's absorptive capacity will not be able to realize these needs. Lastly, we are setting our sights on empowering our local government units to undertake their own PPP projects by arming them with the right tools and capabilities. We have been going around the country building the competencies of our LGUs through providing them the technical expertise and proficiencies to identify and successfully implement their own PPP projects. Recently, we have partnered with the Mindanao Development Authority, the Department of Interior and Local Government, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines to further promote economic development through local PPPs. The Philippine PPP program is a work in progress. It's gone a long way and has been quite successful in implementing infrastructure projects that highly benefit our people. But there's still a lot of room for improvement and things to do. The PPP Center, implementing agencies, stakeholders, and development partners are committed to continuously work towards a more improved PPP program. Together, we will see the success of these PPP projects and how this will significantly contribute to our nation's progress. Indeed, we assure the Filipino people, tayo po ay sulit sa PPP. Maraming salamat po.
Question, Malacañang press corps? Sir, Laila, you have question? Sir, when you say improving mechanism or policy framework, do you consider it like yung the president ayaw niya ng graft and corruption? Ano ba yun dun, sir?
Yes, that is also, of course, what we need to safeguard against. And the PPP process from the beginning has been really designed to be fair, to be competitive, to be transparent. And in the case of unsolicited proposals, one of the reforms we are proposing would be to extend the period for the Swiss challenge so that those who would like to challenge the original proponent would be given more time to prepare a good challenge. So that will also enhance the competition, which is where value for money is realized in PPPs.
Okay, thank you, sir. Laila Salaveria.
Good afternoon. Sir, I understand the SSS is also looking to be involved in PPP projects. Are there actual particular projects that it has entered?
Yes, we had met actually with Chairman Valdez of the SSS. We had volunteered to meet with him because we learned that SSS is very much interested in investing its funds in PPP. So in that meeting, we explained to them how PPP works. And also, of course, apart from learning about the fact that it is an investment opportunity, that there also comes with that kind of investment risk that they have to also be cognizant of. And as they evaluate each project that they will invest on, then that they have to make sure that there is a good balance between opportunity and risk. And out of that meeting, we have also agreed to have a workshop. And we are being helped there by the U.S. Department of Treasury. It's a workshop on project finance so that the SSS managers would be able to understand better how project finance works in the context of PPP. There is yet no project, single project being identified, but there is actually another way for SSS to invest. And it is an ongoing project of the PPP Center together with the PDS, the Philippine Dealing System. So to expand the capital markets by way of offering infrastructure bonds. So when you have infrastructure bonds, then pension funds, insurance companies can buy those bonds to also as a way to have a more or what I'm trying to say is when you have bonds like those, they go through a scrutiny by ratings agencies, very, very tight due diligence, and therefore they can depend also on those agencies' ratings companies to give them the benefit of a rigorous assessment of whether such a bond is worth investing in or not.
Thank you.
Benji Liwanag, DZBB.
Sir, good afternoon. With the investments coming from China, are they already coordinating with you, with the PPP?
It is mainly coordinated with NEDA.
It's NEDA.
Yes.
So the PPP has no part on this with China's projects.
Yes, we don't have a direct role at the moment, but we also understand that Chinese companies, private companies, are also interested in PPPs. So we are, you could say, as we are not directly in contact with them yet, although some of them have actually visited us already. One of them, in fact, even expressed interest in the regional prisons project. So if ever we would be playing a role in terms of investments from China, would be through the private investors that would participate.
Can you name some of the investors that would be coming here, the Philippines? Do we already have a list?
Yes, well, unfortunately, I don't remember the names. That one
Okay.
company, for example, was keen to establish a integrated city where you have factories, where you have services, where you have schools, and then where you have residential areas. So I think this is a model that is happening in China, and they are looking for locations in the Philippines where they can partner with government agencies to establish such projects. Then the other one that I mentioned to you was they were inquisitive about the regional prisons project.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, questions? Okay, thank you, Executive Director. Okay.
I'm sorry, who was asking? Yeah. Okay. So I'm reminded to talk about the delays of these projects. So let me first explain to you that what we go through when we deliver a PPP project. So there's a development part, project development, then there is the approval part, then there is the procurement part, and finally the implementation part. So let me talk of delays in each of those sub-processes. So in the project preparation part, what does that mean? So project preparation means we need to come up with a project that is, first of all, economically viable. So that means the government investing its resources in a project with all the costs entailed, this should really provide the benefits that would more than compensate for whatever costs that would come in. So here we're talking about socio-economic benefits and socio-economic costs. So then the next thing that we need to look at is if it is a PPP project, okay, we need to consider that this will be a partnership between the government and the private sector, agreeing to undertake a delivery of an infrastructure. So in that arrangement, there will be risks that have to be managed. So each party will have its own set of obligations. The party that is best able to handle a particular risk will be given, or in the contract will be allocated that risk. So allocation of risk then implies that the party will have to take measures to prevent the risk from being realized. And there are quite a number of risks, starting from, let's say, if the site, let's say, has some technical problems, if the delivery of the right-of-way will be delayed, if permits will not arrive on time, or let's say if construction costs would go up. What if, let's say, the price of inputs to the construction would go up? Who would absorb those risks? If the foreign exchange rate would go up or change unfavorably versus the peso, who would absorb that risk? So all of these risks have then to be discussed, and the PPP Center has, together with, especially with the Department of Finance, come up with a risk allocation matrix, what that spells out what it would be the preferred allocation of risk between government and the private sector. So in the end, we need to have a project that is not only economically viable, it should be a project that is financially viable. That means investors would actually willing to invest. It should be a project that lenders would be willing to lend money to. So they will be very particular about risk, how risk would be managed. We need to manage the fiscal impact to the government, not just the immediate fiscal impact, but the future impact in terms of contingent liabilities. We need also to make sure that those contingent liabilities would be managed well. So in short, what I'm telling you is there is, it's not a straightforward process. It is in fact iterative because the structuring of a project will have to consider stakeholder inputs, will have to consider legal implications and other inputs. Even the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, in fact, is included to come up with a project that the public will accept and that will succeed in terms of being able to attract investors. So that is why that particular process takes quite a bit of time. It takes about 8 months at least to get that process happening and completed. Then the approval process, I'm very glad to tell you, is now much shorter than before. The President is impatient. And in fact, the message we are getting from him is that he is more concerned with the results rather than coming up with a lot of documents being submitted to him. So that in the last NEDA board meetings, 2016, very quickly, quite a number of projects were approved. Procurement, what is going on in procurement? So the parts that are, that takes time here in procurement would be the contracts. When we have to now come up with the contracts, with all the stipulations, with all the provisions, making sure that we have the safeguards, making sure that the interests of the government are protected. So parties involved here would be the Department of Justice, the Department of Finance would also be involved, of course, the Department of Transportation or the Department of Public Highways, depending on who has the contract, would also, of course, be the key player. But the point here is that because we're talking of obligations, we're talking about risk, we're talking about contingent liabilities, that we are really quite careful in making sure that it is a contract that everyone would accept. And because we are talking of billions and billions of pesos of investments, no, some could go, the 5 regional airport projects are 105 billion pesos, for example, that investors would have to be exercising due diligence. So that takes time. They will have to go to the sites, they would have to look at records, they would have to be convinced that this is a project worth investing in. And therefore, there is also a lot of interaction that happens between us and the private sector to get them at ease about the concerns and issues that they might have. And then, of course, then they have to prepare their proposals. So that takes time as well. They have to get other investors. They normally, because of the magnitude of these projects, they have to form consortia. And they have to look for partners that would build the infrastructure, that would operate and maintain the infrastructure. These all take time. And once proposals are in, then the process would happen much faster. And the next stage would be, of course, the implementation. Now we get to other forms of potential delays. No? It has been a practice that we sign contracts and deal with right-of-way issues later on. This has been the #1 cause of delay of infrastructure projects, where delivery of right-of-way doesn't happen according to planned milestones or times. And therefore, projects simply don't start until those right-of-ways are delivered. Nevertheless, we are being helped now with the new law on the right-of-way, which has changed the formulas for compensation of parties that are at the end of expropriation. And I hear about also initiatives from the Department of Interior and Local Government where they are working towards the informal settlers. Now we're talking about another type of right-of-way issue, informal settlers, forming cooperatives or forming associations so that they have a stake also or a say in the relocation process. I think that is a good way to approach this because the resistance to being relocated is one of the main issues, and having them engage in the process would greatly facilitate the process. The issuance of permits also is quite often a cause for delay, and you've heard also about the issues with TROs or temporary restraining orders. So that, I should say, in a nutshell, looking at the different processes where the bottlenecks are, which part of these processes are taking the longest time, and why delays are happening. So we in the PPP Center, what we see in terms of how we can address these delays would be, one, better planning. So if we are able to plan out the projects much better, if let's say the interconnectivity between different infrastructure projects are already identified early on, if the alignment has already been established, then we would minimize problems happening later on after signing of the contract. So improvement in planning, meaning not just the PPP Center. I'm referring, in fact, to the agencies that conceptualize these projects and working with the other agencies that they have to work with, and also especially with NEDA. The other one is having more resources on the bottlenecks. So we're talking about, let's say, the procurement process, and when you have a lot of projects, and now we're talking not just of PPP, we're talking also of conventional and PPP projects to bid out. So you need resources to get this process moving more quickly, and this is an issue that we hope would be addressed by the agencies concerned. So that is what I can mention for the time being, so far as delays are concerned.
Okay. Okay, thank you. May follow-up question? Okay, thank you, Executive Director Ferdinand Pecson, PPP Center.
Yes.
Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat din po.
Salamat po.
Good morning. All right. Okay, we have some updates. Australian firms favor the Philippines as BPO destination. The Philippines is preferred by most Australian firms, such as Business Process Outsourcing, destination in the region, according to a study entitled Australian SME Micro Offshoring in the Philippines. It was done by the Philippine Institute for Development Studies. Former PIDS visiting research fellow Peter K. Ross and businessman Mike O'Hagan explained that favorable geographical time zone, highly literate workforce, and competitive labor rates are factors that Australian firms see advantages in doing business in the Philippines. Also, we take note of 5 Chinese investors showing interest in investing in the Philippines. The Department of Trade and Industry received letters of intent from 5 Chinese firms which show the interest in doing business in the Philippines. These are Aviation Industry Corporation of China, or AVIC, International Aero Development Corporation, Liaoning Bora Enterprise Group Company, Huili Investment Fund Management, Dalian Wanyang Heavy Industries, and Yiding Tai International. These investments would generate a total of 15,500 jobs for Filipinos by 2022 in industries such as aviation, oil downstream, renewable energy, iron and steel, and shipbuilding and ship repair. We're open for a few questions.
Joseph Morong, GMA 7.
Sir, you said that the president has appointed an acting secretary for the DFA.
Yes.
Why only an acting secretary?
There will be a, he's waiting on his, the action is to keep him, let me just read the statement, all right? And then we'll explain. All right, he will hold the position until the president appoints a new secretary, all right? In the meantime, Yusek Manalo is an excellent transition man and has been on top of many crucial issues together with Attorney Prefecto Yasay.
Is he waiting on somebody, sir, to fill in the post permanently?
Let's just say that he's waiting to. We're assuming that he's waiting on making his own appointment.
Sir, yung bang kay Senator Cayetano, naipangako na talaga yung post?
I don't have any opinions regarding the matter. Thank you. Next.
Marisol Halili, TV5.
Sir, just
Yes,
to follow up. Ano yung chances that the president will appoint Secretary Prefecto Yasay to other government positions?
That was not discussed yet, so that is the president's prerogative.
But is he open to that idea?
Which
The
of-
president of appointing Yasay to other position? To
it
other-
hasn't been discussed. That is an option if he chooses to.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Other issue? O follow-up? Other issue, Raymond Tinasa, Bombo Radio.
Sir, after threatening from their chairmanship and deputy speakership, Congressman or House Speaker Pantalon Alvarez again threatened the Supreme Court if they release or come out with a TRO against the death penalty bill or death penalty revival law, he will move for the ouster or impeachment. Do you think this, your ally, do you think this bullying and threat necessary to this process?
Let's let him do the process himself. Okay. Let's let him do follow up whatever he chooses to do. So.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Ganibe.
Okay, Laila Salaveria. Ito yung microphone. Then to be followed by Dexter Ganibe.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Sir, there's a report that the NPA ambushed 4 policemen who died. How do you see this affecting efforts to revive the peace talks between the government and communist rebels?
Well, the president has actually laid down some conditionalities. Well, basically, some things that he would like the CNN, not you, the CPP, NPA, NDF, to abide by. For example, that they should stop extortion and that there should be a bilateral ceasefire. In other words, that they should also cease action. That they should, in fact, take it upon themselves to be responsible for their own people, and also to release prisoners. So this is part of the expectations of the president regarding the matter. So how it would affect it, it will provide some sort of influence. But however, there's the bigger thing, which is the pursuit of peace.
Sir, there's a report that that Yamsons are involved in the back channel talks. Would you know anything about this?
About back channeling or about the Tiamsons?
About their involvement in the back channel talks?
No, I don't have any information regarding that.
Thank you.
Okay, follow-up sa peace talks. Other issue, follow-up peace talks. Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
If I remember right, Yusek, you issued a statement previously which states that one of the things that the NPA should stop doing is staging attacks against members of the security forces.
That's right.
So, with this ambush, how would this impact on the possibility of the talks being resumed?
I just answered that, right?
So, we need a clearer answer.
Which is?
How will it have an effect?
I cannot quantify, but I'm sure quality-wise, it will influence.
It will influence.
It will influence the talks. There should be, I suppose the conversation will be that there should be firmer action coming from the CNN side on the people on the ground.
Okay, that's clearer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other issue, Dexter Ganibe. Pakiabot ng microphone, Nestor. Okay, Dexter, thank you.
Magandang tanghali, sir.
Yes.
Sir, may mga lumalabas ulit na issue na may bago na daw NFA administrator. May bago bang pahayag ang palasyo?
Okay. Apparently, there's no official statement from the OES.
Pero meron na po, sir.
Wala po ako statement regarding that.
Okay. Sir, 2 matters lang. Kahapon may meeting ang Pangulo with the Ayalas at the
Yes.
Globe Telecom. May kinalaman po ba ito sa broadband? May mga detalye po bang maaari kayong isa publiko? I heard nandun po kayo sa meeting.
Andun po ako. Basically, it was an update coming from the Ayala Corporation regarding some of the products that they're, especially the products they're introducing that may have an influence on the socioeconomic sectors. Especially, I think they're facilitating microfinance and medical care and attention, how do you put it? Medical supplies to the lower sectors, lower socioeconomic sectors through telcos.
Through telcos.
Yes,
Okay. Sir, second point.
yes.
Ongoing yung unang batch ng PSG training sa Russia. Previous administrations, US, madalas nagtitrain sa mga PSG natin. Masusundan ba ito ng mga ibang law enforcers natin na mag-undergo ng training din with Russia or bilateral training something?
Ano po, as far as I know, this is like a trial test, and as far as I know, also there haven't been any official statements regarding the matter that it become an SOP, standard operational procedure. Wala po tayong official statement regarding that matter.
Pero yung shift, sir, madalas di ba nagtitrain dun sa ating balikatan, meron tayo with the US. Patungo na rin po ba tayo dun sa possible balikatan with Russian?
Like I said po, it's basically it's at this stage, as far as I know, it's a one-off. Okay.
Thank you. Other issue, Hannah Sancho.
Sir, can we get an update dun sa naging meeting ni Pangulong Duterte kina House Speaker Alvarez and Senate President Coco Pimentel?
Wala po wala kaming, it was a closed meeting, and we don't have any official reports on that.
Suportado po ba ng Pangulo yung...
Alin po?
Suportado po ba ng Pangulo yung gusto, yung sinabi ni Alvarez, ni House Speaker Alvarez na yung nagbumoto ng no sa death penalty, like sinang Congresswoman Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo tatanggalan ng posisyon?
Well, they're independent po sila, so whether the president supports them or not, they have the prerogative to act independently.
Is it possible na hingilingin ng Pangulo kay Alvarez na magkaroon ng compromise since alay pa rin naman ng Pangulo si GMA na huwag tanggalin kahit sinabi naman Pangulo respeto niya si GMA kahit
I cannot
na
speculate on the matter po. Thank you.
Okay. May follow-up, Marisa Lalili, other issue. Follow-up.
Sir, follow up on death penalty. Is the president satisfied with the result of the death penalty?
I think he
bill?
has his ideas that he has certain ideas, but I think as far as I heard the explanation, that there was going to be a part 2, part 3 regarding the addition of some crimes. Yes.
Pero sir, what's the position of the president with regards to the other crimes like rape and plunder? Gusto niya ba nakasama yun dun sa death penalty?
I think he has a pretty comprehensive presentation in the past that he wanted certain things, certain crimes to be addressed, and but I think he also understands that as far as it was explained, they passed the bill on a single issue, so he understands the process.
Sir, may we have your reaction regarding the statement of Senator Antonio Trillanes saying that the president may face impeachment around May because he committed some impeachable offense like murder when he was still the mayor of Davao?
Mr. Trillanes is prone to make such statements.
Is he not worth your time, sir?
Let's go on to other things. Thank you.
Sir,
Follow up, Balbe.
one more, sir. Sabi rin po kasi ni Senator Trillanes na meron daw 12 government officials na affiliated sa communist group that may use their funds to beef up the rebel groups and oust the President, is this somehow connected to the previous reports that there are the stabilization plot against the administration?
And this came from Mr. Trillanes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, like I said, some of these statements tend to become rather colorful, so it should be avoided.
Thank you, sir.
Benji Liwanag?
Morning, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, dun sa mga previous statement ni Pangulo, he was saying na may mga sisibakin siyang political, or not political, but presidential appointee.
yes,
Do we have an update on this?
Sibakan?
Opo.
Wala po akong ano.
Is there a short list already? Did he show the cabinet a short list?
No, he never showed the the president keeps his cards very close to his chest. But
Thank
he's a listener, yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, last question. Oh, Laila Salaveria.
Sir, going back to Mr. Yasay, how did the President take his rejection by the CA?
Frankly, I don't have I don't have his personal response or reaction to the matter. Wala po.
Okay. Dexter Ganibe, then Henry Uri, last Joseph Morong.
Sir, ulitin ko lang yung naunang tanong ko. Mukhang mali yata yung unang tanong ko kanina. Doon sa NFA.
NFA?
Yes, at NFA. Ang tanong ko is, sinibak na ba ng Pangulo yung NFA administrator?
As he remains up to this moment, he remains. Yeah.
Okay. Henry Uri. Microphone, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Secretary.
Yes.
Balikan ko lang ho yung issue ni Senator Trillanes and Las Cañas. I'm sorry to ask this question.
Yes.
Pati ho yung presidential sister ay nadadawit na to the point personal na buhay na ho nung si Mrs. Jocelyn Duterte ho ang pinag-uusapan. Anong sinasabi ng Pangulo? Personal na buhay na ng kanyang kapatid ang involved?
As far as I know, I haven't heard him make any comments regarding the matter.
So plainly no comment ang Pangulo ron?
Wala po siyang binabanggit, wala siyang sinasabi. Unless maybe it's done privately, but cabinet-wise and even during public interactions, he has not made any comment. As far as I know. As far as I know.
Okay.
How would you describe Senator Trillanes as a senator?
Really, we should leave that alone. No, it's not. It's not really within my purview to be making comments or giving opinions. I try to keep it within official statements. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Last question, Joseph Morong.
So with regard to the Supreme Court appointments, he will appoint at least maybe 12, no, during his term.
Yeah.
And so far, he has appointed two
Two, yes.
from his alma mater.
Yes.
Is this going to be the trend? Meaning, if you are a graduate of San Beda, you will have a lot more, chances of winning the SC post in the future.
Again, yesterday I heard him say twice, it's never a matter of personal interest, it's always public interest first. So, from what you can see, from his gauge of for public interest first, he must probably had seen that these classmates, these schoolmates, were within the standards that he demanded of. But certainly, it's not just confined within his alma mater. But again and again, he has said that he has a very limited, not very limited. He has his knowledge is of contacts is limited within a certain scope. However, he is, like I said, he is a man who listens. He's a man who's deeply interested. He's a man who studies his subject matter, and certainly he can go beyond his alma mater.
These two appointments, sir, to the Supreme Court, will the two justices participate in the Leila de Lima case, Senator de Lima case?
We don't, we cannot make any comments on that. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. O, sige. Yung Pulse Asia, may question? Microphone, please.
Yes.
Sir, doon sa kalalabas lang na Pulse Asia, sinasabi 41% believe na hindi naman nalalagay sa disadvantage sa mga kababaihan sa Pilipinas, which is mayroong equality sa pagtrato sa mga kababaihan sa Pilipinas. Any statement from the palace?
Well, in the Philippines, actually, the Philippines by nature seems to have really established gender equality. So it's a safe place to be a woman in the Philippines.
Okay,
Happy Women's Day, everybody.
Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, Executive Director Ferdinand Pecson, PPP Center. And thank you, Malacañang Press Corps and guests. Back to our main studio sa Radyo ng Bayan at PTB4.